All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Today, we have a 68 Topps Tom Seaver, and we chose this card of Tom Seaver. We wanted to cover Tom Seaver, and, I mean, arguably, he's got to be the greatest Met of all time.
Absolutely. He's one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Right.
He and Walter Johnson are the only pitchers that have 300 wins, 3,000 strikeouts, and there's one other stat that the two of them share. But yeah, one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
So we choose these cards obviously purposefully, and the Seaver rookie with it's a dual. His 67 Topps is a dual card. So this being his first, of just him, is why we chose it. In the 69 Topps is the same exact photo of him, just minus this All-Star rookie trophy. But I mean, I like the design. It's this, whatever this is, it's like almost like a burlap bag kind of fabric around it, which actually has to make it kind of tough to get a sharp centered card because it's so, you could see it stick out right away if it's off centered, but it's a cool card. It's a cool card of him. A great photo of him. I going back on all these reading all these newspaper articles. So he wasn't the biggest guy, and I guess after high school, he joined the Marines. So he leaves high school, joins the Marines, and then comes back. And I think he was at like Fresno, like some small Fresno City College or something like that. Starts doing awesome, and then gets recruited by USC, and then he gets drafted by the Braves. So he's a stud at USC. The Braves draft him, but there's like this crazy story because I guess USC they played 2 exhibition games, and the commissioner said that once the season starts, you can't. You're
a professional.
You're a professional, and he played, even though they were exhibition games.
Yeah.
But, so nonetheless, the Braves lose that draft pick. They go and put 3 other teams in a hat, and the Mets get them. So that's how the Mets, like, how lucky is that? You just got one of the greatest pitchers of all time on that technicality. I think that's pretty cool. So. And remind me, so the Mets are 62?
Yeah, they started in 1962. They were one of the worst teams ever in baseball. They were kind of the laughingstock of baseball. And it was funny because they drafted players from other teams to make make up their team, and they went in a different philosophy than the Houston Colt 45s in 62. They did younger players. The Mets did guys that were on their way out, but they were well known. So, like a Duke Snider and Richie Ashburn, Hall of Famers.
Gotta fill those seats.
Yeah. So I think that's what happens,
Well, they could mentor the younger players, if there are any.
And then they had the legendary Casey Stengel as their manager, who was, beyond his, at that point, he was getting a little senile, so falling asleep in the dugout and things like that.
So Seaver comes up in 67, right? So how did the Mets go from the worst team in baseball history? I think they are the worst team in baseball history. It was the 62 Mets, and so they go from 62, and then Seaver comes up in 67, and then Ryan came up in.
Well, you know what happened is in 1965, baseball introduced the baseball draft. So the Mets, because they were down at the bottom all those years, they were getting real good draft picks. So and those younger players developed, and a lot of them were pitchers, So you had your Seaver, your Nolan Ryan, Gary Gentry. I mean, those were stud pitchers back in the late 60s, and they all came through the draft, So That's where the Mets turned it around, and then they made some good trades. You know, they picked up some guys to enhance their roster, and you know, they went to you know, the World Series in '69 and upset the Orioles. You know,
Yeah, I mean, the Orioles at that time had they had Brooks Robinson, they had Boog Powell, they had
Frank Robinson. Yeah,
I mean, they were loaded.
Jim Palmer.
Palmer was
They had a stud pitching staff. Mike Cuellar, Dobson. They had 4 guys that won 20 games. You know,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on the other side, you got Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
So Nolan Ryan comes up in 68.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously Seaver's their ace.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jerry Koosman was big too.
And then, so in that World Series, that's the Amazing Mets.
Yeah,
right.
It's the Amazing Mets.
So the Miracle Mets, right? So, so Seaver, they lost that first game.
Mm-hmm.
So he took the loss in game 1, comes back in game 4,
He throws a great game.
throws an amazing game. He goes the full. He goes 10. I think he go 9 or 10.
I think he went 10.
He goes 10. He gave up 1 run, I think, in the 9th.
Yeah.
And then he was actually, I think he was up. Yeah, he was due up in the bottom of the 10th. Pinch hitter, bunt, and I think they threw it away. Run scores, they win. Rest is history. I don't think they didn't go back to Baltimore. I think they won it in 5.
Yeah. And it was that Mets team. There was a lot of, you know, guys that weren't well-known players. You know, Don Clendenin comes up with a big hit. Al Weiss, a shortstop who came over from the White Sox. J.C. Martin. You know, these are guys that were, you know, fringe players. And
Who was the? Can you remember? Here's trivia: who their center fielder was?
Tommy Agee.
He made some incredible
Great
catches.
So did Ron Swoboda in right field. He made a great diving catch in that series. Everything went right for the Mets during that World Series.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to go that way.
Yeah,
it's got to go. It's like March Madness. You just got to get lucky.
Yeah,
here and there.
He had a good shortstop with Bud Harrelson. 1973, the Mets went to the World Series, the one and only World Series game that I personally went to, and sat in the upper deck in about 3 rows from the top as they played the Oakland Athletics. And I just remember Rusty Staub getting 4 hits that night, and they beat Oakland.
So Seaver, I mean, he's got a statue outside of Citi Field now. Since 2019, he is, like you said, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. So he throws 5 one-hitters, and then he goes to Cincinnati. Did he go from the Mets to Cincinnati?
Yeah.
I know he played from a couple other teams like the Sox and the
White Sox. He won his 300th game as a member of the White Sox. And with the Cincinnati Reds, he threw his only no-hitter. You know, he was close. He had, what did you say, 5 one-hitters?
I think it was 5 one-hitters.
Yeah. And I remember coming home and hearing the news that he had gone 8 1/3 perfect innings and kind of against the Cubs, and this unknown player that, you know, played like a half a year, Jim Qualls, got a base hit off him to end that perfect game.
I don't even know how you got that. I don't know where you pulled that name out of, but I mean, good for him for getting a no-no. Like, so close, so many times.
Oh, I remember the other stat that he's tied with Walter Johnson. And he had 300 wins, over 3,000 strikeouts, and an earned run average under 3. That's incredible.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And he was a pretty good hitting pitcher too. He had 12 home runs in his lifetime, and 154 average, which is not bad for a pitcher. And, there's some good hitting pitchers back in the day, but now with the designated hitter, you don't see pitchers hit anymore.
So help me understand this. So Mets, all right. So Mets, they become a franchise in '62. the Dodgers and Giants move out when?
57. Yeah, 57. Dodgers went to Los Angeles, and the Giants went to San Francisco.
So what I didn't know, and I thought was pretty cool, I don't know if you know this about the Mets blue and orange. So it's they pay homage to the Giants orange and the Dodgers blue.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. When they came in, a lot of the old time Dodger and Giant fans, when they moved out west, they were annoyed that their teams moved, and so they adopted the Mets. I mean, the Mets had at that time in '62, it was the worst record in the history of baseball for a single season, but they filled the seats. People enjoyed watching them. So and they actually, for a while, were outdrawing the Yankees. The Yankees had some lean years in the mid '60s and stuff. So the Mets got good in the late '60s, early '70s.
Yeah. So he won a title, Hall of Famer, obviously.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, and Mike Piazza. Those are the only two people that have the Mets hat, shall we say, at Cooperstown. There are other players that have played for the Mets that are in the Hall of Fame, but these are the.
That seems like there's only two Mets in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's other Mets, like you said. Nolan Ryan, Ricky Anderson.
Yeah. Duke Snyder actually played a few games. Warren Spahn, believe it or not, played a few games.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. And Casey Stengel, the legendary manager. So Richie Ashburn. So you got a few guys that at the end of their career played for the Mets.
I think I know Seaver's got a statue, but did they also, I think they renamed the address is like 41 Seaver Way.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this has been fun. Another good conversation about this 68 Topps Seaver card. I love the back more than the front. I love the yellow on the back.
The thing about 1968, from a baseball standpoint, is that was the year of the pitcher. So you had, Seaver having a great year. Bob Gibson was just unbelievable that year. He had a 1.10 or 1.12 earned run average. That's unheard of. I think Carl Yastrzemski won the American League batting title with a 303 average. And then the next year they raised the mound just to compensate for the, they wanted more hitting back in the game.
I would have thought they lowered the mound.
Mm.
Wouldn't they lower the mound?
Did they lower it? Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe they did lower it.
Yeah, look.
But I know they adjusted the mound.
The back of his card, his 67 season, he won 16 games with a 2.76 ERA as a rookie.
Mm.
Won 16 games as a rookie. And he lost 13, so he was going the distance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what happened back in those days. The pitchers went 9. They all went the distance.
Actually, on the back of this card, 18 complete games was a New York Met record as well. Mm-hmm. Topps Rookie Pitcher of the Year for 67, which on this card is cool too, because why we picked this one, especially over the 69 is it's got the All-Star Rookie trophy on it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's a cool card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, wait, one more. There on the back of this card, there is a trivia. All right?
Mm-hmm.
We're ready. Who led the Mets in RBIs in 1967?
Let's say Ron Swoboda.
Nope. Tommy Davis.
Tommy Davis. Huh?
Yeah, 73, if I could read that correctly. 73 or 75, and I can't read it. Anyway, thank you. Appreciate everybody joining in. Hope you enjoyed it, and until next time.